And one of the things to kind of think about is nutritious ideas for those back-to-school lunches and snacks. We are joined by Rachel Caven this morning, nutritionist and owner of Caven Nutrition. Rachel, thanks so much for joining us this morning. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And one of the first things on the list is obviously something that comes up at the start of every school year, right? It is food allergies. It is things like that, kind of knowing what your kid is going into in the classroom. So safety first is what you've got listed as number one here.
Absolutely. So every classroom will have different children with different needs. So you always want to check with your classroom teacher to make sure that you're going to be avoiding any allergies. So of course, peanuts and tree nuts are usually topping the list, but there may be others, including like fish, dairy products, eggs. So it's just really great to check in with the teacher first to make sure that you're keeping everyone safe. And then once you have this information, especially if you have many kids or in different classes or different people preparing their lunches, make sure that it's listed on the refrigerator so everyone knows what's happening.
And the refrigerator aspect of that too, making sure that cool things stay cool is obviously key to avoiding an incident at school as well.
Definitely. So unfortunately, we can't put the lunchboxes in the refrigerator usually. So it's really important to have an ice pack. So one of my best tips for this is just have many of them because we're going to forget to put them in the freezer the night before. So always have extra on hand so you can keep your kids' food cold during the day.
Definitely a good tip. One thing I wanted to ask you just on allergies as well. Are there some, I guess, comparables in terms of alternatives out there for things like, if kids are allergic to peanuts or things like that, peanut butter? Do you ever recommend any alternatives?
Definitely. There's so many different alternatives out there, and it really depends on, what the allergies are. But a good alternative to peanut butter would be the sunflower seed butter. So that's become very popular for schools or for kids that love peanut butter but can't take it.
And what we should be putting in our lunch to make sure we're getting all the kind of healthy nutrients that we need. That's kind of a big part of this as well. So how do you kind of suggest approaching a lunch to make sure that we're hitting all of our kids' needs?
Okay, so you want to make sure you're focusing on the 3 macronutrients. So we want to have protein, healthy fats, and lots of fiber and carbohydrates. So with protein, that's going to help them keep their busy bodies and brains going and keep their blood sugar stable. So you want to have maybe some meat products, some cheese or yogurt, tofu, or turkey, chicken, beans, lentils, things like that. And then with healthy fats, this is really, really important for their growing brains. And all of these tips, these are for adults as well.
I was just going to say that, so I'm glad you did. Yeah.
Listen in as well, because this is for everyone. So you need to have some healthy fats as well. So again, this can be, sometimes these overlap with the protein categories. So nuts, cheese, dairy products, stuff like that, or maybe you could do avocados or olives, whatever your children will eat. And then the fiber and carbohydrates. So fruits and vegetables are actually a huge part of the carbohydrate category, which a lot of people don't realize. And then if you are choosing, grain products, making sure you're using mostly whole wheat bread and crackers and stuff like that. And then, of course, trying to have as much fruits and vegetables as possible and a lot of colors in there.
Just curious, because, I know that's the first time that I had heard that, too. Which fruit and vegetables are kind of high in carbohydrates?
So a lot of the starchy ones are high in carbohydrates. So all fruits and vegetables do have carbohydrates in them. But the really starchy ones, so like sweet potatoes or bananas, things like that, will have more carbohydrates.
No, definitely some good stuff. And you mentioned color actually a couple of times here. The more colors, the better, right, in terms of getting those leafy greens and the other nutrients that we need to kind of get into our bodies.
Absolutely. Try to eat the rainbow as much as possible. And that's also really enticing for kids because kids are drawn to that. Look at any children's cereal and they'll have obviously like lots of colors and characters and things like that. So kids are drawn to color. So use that to your advantage for healthy eating where you're giving them lots of, colorful berries and fruits and vegetables and things like that.
And just a note on that, you've actually, if parents wanted to check it out, you've actually got a back-to-school lunch guide up kind of looking at various foods if people wanted to check it out.
We do. We have an amazing one. Obviously, the 'tis the season. That's what we're talking about this week. So we have an amazing guide that has 24 different recipes and what exactly to include into your school lunchboxes.
And a couple of other kind of tips for parents as well. This one it never resonated for me, but definitely for my brothers. If you have picky eaters within your family, how do you kind of get around that and still kind of get the nutrients within their school lunch?
Yeah, so this is a tough one because we all know that we need to have variety in our diets and in our kids' diets. But you want your kids just to eat whatever they'll eat that's healthy. So I know my son, he's 13 now, but when he was little, he would only eat cucumbers. Like he ate cucumbers every single day of his life for many, many years. So I would still send him with cucumbers every single day because I knew at least he was going to be getting his vegetable, but then I would add other ones in there. So even if they send them back every single day, keep trying, because the more they're exposed to that, the more normal it's going to be, and eventually they're going to try it out. Or maybe a friend is going to have that same vegetable or fruit and think that that's really cool. And then also another great tip is get your kids involved. They can do so much more in the kitchen than we think. They can help with, starting at the grocery shopping, bring them to the grocery store and let them pick out what kind of fruits and vegetables they want. Let them help you, wash them, cut them. You can get kid-safe knives that, they can cut up bananas or whatever with. And they can also help with cleaning up and washing the dishes. Yes, it's going to be messier. It's going to take 10 times as long, but it's actually going to pay off in the future because you're going to have better eaters.
Another one that could fit in the adult pile as well, just in terms of, you're more likely, if you make it, you're more likely to want to eat it, right? Because it looks so good.
100%.
The other aspect of this, we've been talking about, nutrition, but there is some room for some fun and to have a little bit of a cheat as well in terms of getting a treat in there.
Yeah, absolutely. This doesn't necessarily have to be like quote unquote a cheat, but something fun that your kid is going to look forward to. So it could be a healthy snack if they love raspberries or something like that. My youngest son, he loves the sugar-free candies, the Smart Sweets. So we sometimes add a few of those so that he's just looking forward to it. So going to school or going to daycare is a really big deal when you're little. And I think it's really important to make that little aspect of fun. When my older son when he knew how to read, I would send him, little notes or little jokes and stuff. And you don't have to write these yourselves. You can order them online. So they're already pre-made. And he just thought it was the cutest thing ever. And I'd hide them in his lunchbox. So just little things, or maybe stickers if they can't read yet. So something to make the lunchtime fun.
Yeah, just a little surprise there somewhere in the day. And the last one kind of, bringing everything together. And it is, even for adults too, it's staying hydrated and kind of staying away from unhealthy drinks.
Yes, absolutely. So especially when you're not there to remind your children that they need to drink water, because sometimes they won't, it's really important to send them with some water, because otherwise all they have access to is a water fountain, and some kids don't like to use those. So go out and buy them a super fun water bottle. My younger son, he just got a Space Dino water bottle. Thinks this is the coolest thing on earth. So fill it up with water. Try to limit the juice boxes, or what you can do is dilute them. So maybe if your child doesn't really love water, dilute the juice with a bit of extra water so that they're still getting a lot of water in their day.
And looking out for maybe more healthy options like 100% fruit juice is what you're kind of recommending too, right?
100%. Always look at the label and make sure that it's 100% fruit and it doesn't have extra sweeteners like glucose, fructose, and things like that.
Yeah, just avoiding the sugar. Well, lots to kind of chew on there, Rachel. Thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I hope back to school goes well for you and yours.
Thank you so much.
Rachel Caven is a nutritionist and owner of Caven Nutrition, joining us with those nutrition ideas for back to school and what you should be packing for the kids.